Welcome back to the baseline. And today's the division series. And guys, we got a lot to talk about. The wild card round was probably one of the best wild cards we have seen since this format has been introduced. What games? Now let's start with the AL. Detroit pulled an upset. In my opinion, beat the Houston Astros, swept them, and after watching this Detroit team and watching how they work and how they maneuver, this team is hungry. They're a very, very young team. They're all new, really, except for Skubal. Torkelson, Green, Verling, all these guys are guys that got drafted 4 years ago. Well, Verling actually might have been like five or six. He got traded over um, from the Philadelphia Phillies. But either way, this team is they're stacked, they're fun to watch, and they came in and got rid of the biggest threat, in my opinion, in the American League. And I'm gonna break it down. Skubal. This guy is immediately the Cy Young winner in the AL. Triple Crown, has led everything in the AL, which is very hard to do. The last guy to actually win the pitching Triple Crown was Justin Verlander in 2011 when he was with the Tigers. This guy just pitches his heart out. He goes for the big run, and he knows it. He knows he's the ace. Some guys, it's hard to be the ace. You look at these guys, some guys struggle with it. Some guys, take the advantage and they love it. Skubal, after years of being the second or third guy in the pitching rotation, well, he's now that ace. He's had the Verlanders and the Scherzers in front of him. David Price, when Price was with the Detroit Tigers, he is now ready to take on that role, and that's what he did. And he's going to pitch game 2 on Monday against Cleveland. The hitting for a young team, and I know they have like 2-3 years under their belt, but for a young team, they're patient. They they work the count. They draw their walks. They play small ball. It's not this big market team that everyone everyone does, everyone loves, and they try to hit the home run. They go by what the scenario is. Oh, the guy's on third? Okay, let's get a single. The guy's on second, let's move him over for the next guy. Like that atmosphere, it's old school baseball. There's no analytics to it. You can't tell me that they use analytics all the time. This is small ball. And the one thing that I like about the Detroit Tigers. Oh, I just found this out. Game two. I don't remember who said it. It was either Michael Kay or Tim Kurgic. AJ Hinch has a plan before the game even starts. He knows what he's gonna do. Like, that's insane to me. He played game one without his starting shortstop and his starting left fielder. Who does that? That's like saying today, uh, Aaron Boone's not gonna play. Aaron Judge, and Gleyber Torres until the fifth inning. AJ Hinch knows what he's going to do. He has everything planned out. If when he's behind, when he's ahead, he knows what he's going to do, and that fascinates me because not a lot of managers do that. AJ Hinch, I think he got the short end of the stick, the short end of the deal when that whole Astros thing came on, and he wasn't part of it. And even the Houston players said they felt bad for him. That for what, a couple years he wasn't allowed to manage. Well, now he is back and he knows what he's doing, and he took down the big bad Astros, who really, really didn't show any life. They showed life in game two, but Presley and Hader absolutely had nothing. They got destroyed, and that's what made the the Tigers win and sweep the Astros. They're not afraid. They're not scared. They're gonna go in there and they're not gonna be intimidated. They weren't intimidated by Framer Valdez. They weren't intimidated by Brown, Hader, Presley. The pitching wasn't intimidated by the hitting. And the hitting's the biggest part of the Houston Astros' lineup. They got guys there that, if I was picked, I would be scared. Like, you throw one ball to Yordan Alvarez, he's hitting it 400 feet into the stands. Altuve could get on base easily. Kyle Tucker, same thing as Yordan. But they weren't scared. They showed zero weakness. And that's what I like about these Tigers. These guys are fearless. It's going to be a fun series to watch when they take on the Cleveland Guardians today. We'll see what they have to do. I think they have the advantage over Cleveland. Cleveland really doesn't have the starting pitching. They have the bullpen. They don't really have the starting pitching. Hitting, I think they have a lot of guys. They got like five guys or four or five guys that they can rely on. Obviously, Jose Ramirez, who I'll say it once, I'll say it again, underrated. Very underrated. We don't talk about him enough. Uh, Josh and Bo Naylor are kind of a threat to watch. Stephen Kwan. We got a lot. This team's got some heavy hitting. Stephen Vogt did a phenomenal job. I'm happy for him. This guy was well likable. Kind of reminds me of a David Ross when David Ross played with the Cubs and then took over. They just like him because he knows the fun aspect of it. He also knows baseball. He knows the game. He knows everything around. So I'm happy for him. I would love for him to continue. But like I said, I think the Tigers just have the advantage over the Cleveland Guardians coming into the series. Uh, Kansas City and Baltimore. What I found out from this series, and then last year, Baltimore, they look like they give up. Like they don't capitalize runners on base. They don't capitalize anything. They're like the Toronto Blue Jays, but a little bit better. Like they played with each other for 2 3 years, but something's just not right. Corbin Burns phenomenal in game one. I believe he went 7 shutout innings, or he went maybe six. Gave up a run to Bobby Witt. I mean, it's Bobby Witt. But Baltimore just they don't show any signs of life. And they did that last year with the Rangers. They got swept. And I would not be surprised if next year we're back to the old school rivalry of Yankees and Red Sox. I honestly would not be surprised. Baltimore just they don't have it. I don't know what's going on. It's Cedric Mullins was like the star in game one. He hit the home run. That was the only run. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. It's kind of embarrassing that you have this young team, you have this young core that's supposed to be like your core four, but they're not doing anything. That's what kind of embarrasses me. Like I'm embarrassed for them. You don't capitalize it, and it's not like they're playing the Yankees and they're being shut out all the time. They're playing Kansas City. That game could have easily gone 3 series. Now, if you went 3 series or 3 games, sorry, and you actually won a game, I wouldn't be that. I wouldn't be disappointed in them. I'm disappointed in them. they, I don't know. This team just they look beat up. They look down. I don't know. I honestly don't know what to do or say when it comes to the Baltimore Orioles. It's just way. It's just embarrassing. They barely even tried this series. As for Kansas City, I'm a big fan of Kansas City. They got everything: the pitching, the hitting, the bullpen. Bobby Witt is just on fire. It's kind of ridiculous that he's like the Bryce Harper of the Royals. Any big moment that he needs, he's there. He gets, and that's what you kind of like to see. I'm saying when Salvador Perez's career is all and done, he's gonna be up there as the new captain. This kid is phenomenal to watch. He's one of the best shortstops in baseball right now. He's there with a clutch moment. And now you're going to face the New York Yankees. Michael Wacha starts game one today. You have Reagan starting game two on Monday. And they're like the Tigers. There's no fear. They don't care. And I would love, really, I know I say I don't like to circle any game. I like all of it. I'm kind of really interested to see what they do today against Garrett Cole. Garrett Cole, to me, is probably the only um, strength of the Yankees pitching. I don't see anyone else. I little iffy on Carlos Rodon, who pitches game two, because either you get the good Carlos Rodon or you get the bad. And when he's bad, he's bad. Game three, they're saying it's supposed to be Luis Heel. Again, I don't know if I would really be a fan of that, just because his last start, he was awful. He was facing the Pittsburgh Pirates. And Marcus Stroman, I like Stroman, I do, but he's kind of the same way. He's up and down. The other thing is the hitting. If you're a pitcher, I'm honestly just circling the 2 and 3 hole. It, those are the two guys that would scare me the most, because you throw it over the plate, they're gonna hit it very far. I love Soto. I love Judge. But then at the same time, you gotta. I don't know. I feel like they gotta switch them, just because the fourth, the cleanup hitter who bats behind, they're batting like 189, and it's not one person. It's multiple people that are batting 189, and Jazz is always fifth. I don't understand that. He should bat fourth. He's actually been really good for the New York Yankees. There's just a lot you gotta do. And Yankee fans, I love you, but when you get cocky, trust me, you get cocky. Yes, this is literally the easiest way to the World Series. It is. But it's baseball. Anything can happen. This is not football. This is not basketball, where literally the same teams are in the Super Bowl, the same teams are in the championship. Anything can happen in baseball. That's why I love the game. You could do anything happen. Anything can happen. When a young team like Kansas City comes in and they have that mentality of, hey, we're not scared, we're ready to win, and we're ready to win now, that to me scares me. Even if I'm a big market team, that still scares me. Because that's the same mentality the Arizona Diamondbacks had last year. They weren't scared of the Philadelphia Phillies. They weren't scared of the Dodgers. And they weren't scared of the Rangers. And they worked their butt off. And they got to the World Series. So this series I'm actually really interested in. I would love to see what they do. Both teams. Because it's been 9 years since the Royals won the World Series, and since they've been in the playoffs. then they had a good team. So we have to see what goes on in this in this series, the division series. It's gonna be a great one. I think we're in for a wild ride for all four teams. We're in for a wild ride. Now moving on to the NL, Padres and Braves. Man, did the Braves look beaten up. And that's the one thing about baseball. Before I get into those series, before I talk about what happened, yeah, they honestly couldn't do anything. Major League, they really couldn't do anything. The Atlanta Braves, the day before, on Monday, played a doubleheader. They lost Chris Sale because of back tightness, which really sucked. But you couldn't do anything better to make to give these guys rest. In game one, they looked beaten. They really looked beaten. Michael King, that the star of game one. 7 innings, 12 strikeouts, no runs allowed. He put on the show and I loved it. I loved watching it. It was phenomenal that this dude, I honestly gotta say, I think he was definitely the centerpiece for the Juan Soto deal. I'm surprised the Yankees got rid of him. I'm surprised they said, okay, I know you have to do what you have to do. You have to win and make tough decisions. It's a business. I get it. But Michael King, wow, did he put on a clinic? And he's gonna he's gonna be the centerpiece of that of this division series because Joe Musgrove is out. Game two, he was grabbing his arm, and the news broke on yesterday. He's gonna need Tommy John, so they're gonna be out with him for a while, which really sucks. I know Musgrove is beating himself up, which I mean, hey, it happens. Stuff happens. But the Padres look alive. They look hungry. They look like they're ready, and usually never they never really do that. They always, for some reason, just they always choke. A couple years ago, when they beat the Dodgers, the next series, it looked like something has changed. They're always disappointment. Well, they made a couple moves in the deadline. The 7, 8, 9 guys are there. The Adams, Rogers, they're they're definitely there and they're ready. And it's gonna be a very fun series when it comes to um, them facing the Dodgers. But game one, they won 4-0. Kyle Hishioka hit a home run in both game one and game two. The Braves did show some life in game one, but Fried just wasn't there. Gave up a 5-run second inning. That was all for the Padres. Was the 5 runs in there? Atlanta looked like they were coming back. In the fifth, they scored one. In the eighth, they scored two, but still, it wasn't enough. San Diego still ended up beating them. Um, yeah, Atlanta took a big fall with their pitching. If Chris Sale was allowed to pitch, I definitely think he would have. But probably if they advanced. As far as San Diego, like I said, they're ready, they're hungry, they're gonna go into the series not being scared. They're facing Yamamoto. They faced this guy before. They have Dylan Cease on. I know this is crazy to say, but I'm gonna take Dylan Cease over Yamamoto. I still don't trust the Los Angeles Dodgers. They do not have enough, and we say this every single year. They don't have pitching. That's their biggest thing. You can have the hitting as much as you want. 100%. Go out there for the hitting. But if you don't have the pitching to back you up, nothing nothing's gonna happen. Right now you have Yamamoto game one, Jack Flaherty game two. Who's game three? Not Tyler Glasnow, he's hurt. Not Clayton Kershaw, he's hurt. Not Dustin May, not Tony Gonsolin. Walker Buehler? The guy had an ERA of almost 6. And don't get me started on the bullpen. That bullpen is terrible. That bullpen's washed up. I mean, I don't. You can out hit the guy, the team as much as you want. The Dodgers are literally got the hope and pray that every game they score at least 10 runs. But in the playoffs, that rarely happens. No one scores more than 10 runs, or even get close to 10 runs. In my mind, I said it once, I'll say it again. The Dodgers were a disappointment in my mind. I know. Oh, how can you say that? They won the West. But why are we talking about the Dodgers? The same reason we're talking about. We talked about the Angels for 6 years. Shohei Ohtani, one guy. If Ohtani signed elsewhere, and the stuff that happened in the Dodgers right now, they're not winning the West. Take Ohtani out. Mookie Betts got injured. Max Muncy got injured. Freddie Freeman was gone for a week. Um, can't really blame him for that. He did have something wrong with his son. Hey, family problems. I get it. Glass now got hurt. Kershaw got hurt. I believe like Joe Kelly got hurt. Um, I believe I said Mookie Betts. That's like 6 guys that you depend on that got hurt. If you didn't have Ohtani, they wouldn't have won the West. I believe that's the only reason why we're talking about the Los Angeles Dodgers is because Ohtani made history, and that's it. That's why we're talking about the Los Angeles Dodgers. Their pitching is awful. They suck, and that's it. My opinion, the Padres have more, and they're not going to back down a fight. I think they advance. I like Cease. I like what King did in Game 1 of the Wild Card Series. Yu Darvish can give you 5, 6 innings, and that's really what the Padres are going to do. You give me 5, 6 innings, our bullpen will take the rest. Tatis is back to form. I don't care about what he did to get back faster. I understand, but you know what? He did it during the offseason. He didn't do it during playing time. To me, I think there's a difference. If you use the steroids to cheat, no. If you, but he didn't. He did during the offseason because he wanted to come back and help the Padres win. Machado is back to his old form. I'm really seeing signs of what he did with Baltimore. He's taking a leadership now, actually, which I like. I like that from Machado. Bogarts is back to his form. He's actually back at shortstop. I think that's where he belongs. He deserves to be that. Uh, that Jackson guy, can't think of his last name. He's doing phenomenal. And Hiroshioka became a power hitter. I don't know what happened between the regular season and the postseason, but he's become a power hitter. And like I mentioned, the bullpen, Adams, Suarez, and Scott, they're taking over, and they're doing really really well. I think they got the advantage over the Dodgers. I could be wrong, but from what I've seen from the postseason until now, I think the Padres got the advantage over the Los Angeles Dodgers. Now let's talk about the series that actually went 3 games, and oh boy, was this fun! Mets, Brewers, man, you can't tell me that you guys watched that series and didn't get goosebumps. You can't say that. Man, what a game. The game one, 8-4. Mets. Basically, the hitting was just there for the Mets. Severino was there, but he was a little bit shaky. He gave up 8 hits, 3 earned runs, and only 3 strikeouts with 2 walks in 6 innings pitched. But you had the guys there. Jesse Winker has become um, helpful. Jose Iglesias is doing well. Nimmo is doing well. The third baseman, Vintos, I believe that's how you pronounce his name. He had 2 hits in game one. And Marte had like a walk and a sacrifice fly. And they had, 7 hits, 8 runs in game one. Yeah, they got to Milwaukee that game. Peralta was there. He pitched 4 innings but gave up 3 earned runs and 5 strikeouts. And then after that, kind of the bullpen really didn't really do good. Payments, or however you pronounce his name. He got the loss. He also gave up 3 runs. Joel Heyman, Ashby gave up 2 runs. Mears and Seville didn't really give up any runs, but by the time they came in, the damage had already been done. 8-4. The Mets look strong. They look hungry. They're not giving up, which again, something you like to see. Game 2, Phil Maton, he got the loss. Maeda, he started. Sean Maeda, 5 innings pitched, 2 earned runs, 4 strikeouts. Milwaukee ended up winning 5-3. Very close game. The defense for the Mets hitting, they scored in the first 2 innings, and Milwaukee took the advantage. In the 5th, and then scored 3 in the 8th. So yeah, Milwaukee right there kind of took over for the Mets. Now let's talk about Game 3, which probably one of the best games in this postseason so far. Nothing till the 6th inning. We go to the bottom of the 7th inning. Jake Bauers pitch hits for Rhys Hoskins, hits a home run. Sal Frelick hits a home run. He was the next batter. Back to back. We go to the 8th. Williams comes out for the save. 1 out. Runners at the corner. A man who's been struggling all season and all postseason, Pete Alonso, hits a 3-run home run. Gives the Mets the lead. On possibly would have been the last out. If he hit the ball for a double play, the Mets season is over. He hits a 3-run home run off of probably one of the best closers in baseball. Oh, and they were done. Starling Marte singles. A couple batters later makes it 4-2. Peterson comes out for the save. A starting pitcher. And the Mets move on to face the Philadelphia Phillies in the division series. That game, honestly, the best game I've ever saw in my life. You cannot tell me you watched that game and didn't get goosebumps. That game was phenomenal. That game it was cinema. It was like watching a movie. The best game ever. And that's why, folks, I don't watch any other sport but baseball. Because you can't make this stuff up. Everyone thought the Mets were going to be out of it. They never play Milwaukee well. And this happens? Yeah, this team is ready to win. They're ready to fight. Lindor, who got traded over, is now taking a leader role. Would you love to see? There's actually talks going around that he helps out Acuna, the brother to Ronald Acuna on the Braves. He helps him out, gets him to go on. Guys, this Mets team is literally ready, and I think they have the same mindset. It's MLB Network had an interview after the game with P. Alonso, and they asked him, "You're a free agent. Would the thought of, hey, this could be my last at bat going to your mind?" And he said, "No." He said, "Not at all. My mindset was to get Lindor in and score him, and you know try to save our season." And he did. And also props to Jose Quintana, the starting pitcher. 6 innings, no runs, shutout baseball, and he's been phenomenal for the Mets as well. It's kind of crazy that a couple of years ago we're like, wow, this is weird. Um, Especially last year when they traded Scherzer and Verlander. I'm surprised that this year Jose Quintana has been a great acquisition for the Mets. He's going to pitch against the Phillies this division series. The one thing that kind of surprises me, though, is that game one, the Mets are pitching Sega, and he really hasn't pitched all year. So this is interesting. I kind of want to see what his stuff has. I believe they're the second game today at 4 o'clock. I'm interested to see what he has as well. But he is going to play a Phillies team who is up and down. You have Zach Wheeler. I don't think people are always saying the Cy Young Award winner. I don't think that. I think it's going to be Sale because Sale won the Triple Crown for the NL side. This is going to be a fun series. The Mets hitting versus the Phillies. Nick Castellanos is usually there, but he's been iffy. Same thing with Schwarber. Harper's always in the clutch, so I feel like they're gonna ride Harper's back. On my mind, I just don't know what else to really do. I mean, yes, they got the bullpen. They made that trade with the Angels for the closer, but I don't know what else Philadelphia could do. I mean, they won the division for a reason, but how they've been playing now is a little iffy for me. Well, it is a little iffy. So we'll see how the Phillies play this out. But anyway, those are our wild card spots. That's our recap. That's our division. Are down to our last couple teams in the division series. 8 teams. I'm excited. But while all this stuff went on, we did have some news. So we're going to talk about that as well. Buster Posey has now been named baseball president of baseball operations for the San Francisco Giants. They parted ways with Farhan Saidi. Um, they said the big reason was because Matt Chapman wanted to stay with the Giants. He wanted to get an extension done. very weird since Boris has never done that, at least during the season. So that's a little bit weird. But I guess the agent, Boris and Farhan Zaidi, went on and argued. They brought in Buster Posey, and he said, okay, we could do this. We can make this work. So Buster Posey played a big role. Sorry. Played a big role in helping gain Matt Chapman back. I like this for a couple reasons. Number one, I'm excited to see if now this changes something. Does this change how the Giants run things? Is there's rumors and news that they're going to increase the payroll. There's news that they're gonna go after the big guys. Now that Posey's around, I would love to see that. Do I think it's gonna happen? Probably not, because I mean they really haven't gone after the big guy in a while. I mean, yes, I understand Matt Chapman and Blake Snell, but are they actually going to do that now? I mean, if they are, hey, that would be great. And then maybe we can get that rival going back, Dodgers Giants, which will be phenomenal to see again. The other reason the reason for what I don't like about it is that this is like this is one of the star players for the Giants, or was. To me, it's like Derek Jeter if he ever got signed for a general manager with the New York Yankees. Something goes bad, you can't fire the dude. Fans will be pissed. That's what I have with Buster Posey. I don't know. Maybe they have something in play. Maybe they have something in the works. We'll see. He might make this team a little bit better. And if he does, it's going to be a fun because the NL West is fun enough as it is. You got the Diamondbacks, Dodgers, Padres, and then you have the Giants. Yeah, count me in. I would love to watch that. But so that's news number one. News number two is the Reds hired Terry Francona after a year absence. Uh, he was worried for his health. I get it. I think he went for shoulder and either hip or knee surgery. I don't remember. But he went to Cincinnati. He's not going to Cincinnati if he didn't think this team was going. Same thing with Bruce Bochy with the Rangers, who's before he got in, they were terrible for years. So who knows? Maybe the Reds are going to take the advantage. Who's the only great team in the Central? Milwaukee. St. Louis have already shown signs they're going to rebuild. They're already thinking about going against Sonny Gray. I would not be surprised if they're trying to get rid of Arenado. The Cubs won't do anything. You know, Pittsburgh, they're still young, but I think they still got ways to go. Yeah, why not take the advantage? Go get that, bring some more guys in, and we'll see what we can do from there. I think that's gonna be. I think this is a great move. It's a 3-year deal, option for 2028. We'll see how it goes. I like Francona. Look what he did with the Red Sox, and look what he did with the Guardians. Yes, he didn't win, but they have winning philosophy. The last and final news, and as we try to celebrate baseball right now and get better, there was some sad news. If you guys haven't heard over the weekend, uh, Pete Rose passed away. He's 83 years old, and talk about controversial guy. Not in the Hall of Fame because he gambled, which I think it's so messed up because now you promote gambling. Everywhere you go, you see DraftKings. You go on MLB Network, on the bottom line, they tell you the betting odds of who's going to win. So you mean to tell me that, hey, Brad Manfred, you couldn't put him in the Hall of Fame when he was alive? But one of the best players to ever play baseball, Charlie Hustle, because he did, every time he walked, he ran down first base. One of the most controversial guys down the Hall of Fame, and he deserves it. I hope he gets in soon. Wasn't around about it, but he needs to get in. He needs to get soon. I did a podcast, the last one I did it with Al and Craig about our greatest shortstops. If you haven't checked that out, please do. We talked about Cal Ripken. He was on the list. And we talked about how his consecutive game streak would never be broken. And then Al mentioned hitting 400. Ted Williams will never be broken either. No one's hitting 4,000 career hits. To be specific, no one's hitting 4,256 hits. They're not. And that's a shame that the hit king is not in the Hall of Fame. And I hope he does get there soon. But Pete Rose passed away at the age of 83. Well, that's going to do it for me. We will hopefully talk to you again next week as we recap the division series. Let me know what you guys think. I would love to hear your guys' opinion. And also, just to bring it up, we are officially on YouTube. So go check that out. Same name, same logo, and we are on YouTube. But I'm going to sign off, and I will see you all in the next one.